We're just about ready to get started here. Just gonna test a few things. Testing to see if I can sustain 6K. Bitrate. Is this stream the continuation of tomorrow's video? Hell yeah. If you want spoilers, get out now. If you don't want spoilers, you should leave. Oh. Well, that scene transition didn't work how it was meant to. Let me try that again. Hey, Spuddies. There you go, right. Scene transition worked that time. What's up, boys and girls, of course. There are like 5 of them in my entire community. But spoilers increase stability and road grip? True. Boys and girls and non-binary pals? I agree. I would like to modify my previous statement. The transition in the last YouTube videos were clean as fuck. Thank you. When did this game start? This game started like a week or 2 ago. I'm trying out a new thing where basically I'm going to try to stream like 4 hours a day on YouTube. It's an experiment. We're seeing if it works. Okay, we're experimenting with it, and we're gonna stream like 4 hours a day on YouTube and Twitch, and we're gonna release videos of those streams. See, because like, you know, maybe you can't catch it live. It's an experiment. We're trying something new out. I'm excited to try it. I think it's gonna be cool. You're beautiful. Thank you, Adam. All right, let's experiment then. Can't wait to lose viewers every time you do an outro. True, dude. True. I feel like I need to like disclaimer it. The Pog daily streams, am I in heaven? Yeah, we're gonna be doing a stream later today, as well. In fact, today is just jam packed full of streaming. I'm doing like 2 to 3 hours now. And then about 6 hours from now, I'm going to be doing a 2-hour Civ stream as well. And then after that, we'll be doing like 3 hours of Dungeons and Dragons. So you've got your day jam-packed full of streams here today. There'll be like a 2 to 3 hour window where I'm not streaming, where I'm going to be getting dinner and preparing for those other 2 streams. But other than that, like today is just all streams. All streams today. I do have to, this one will be shorter than usual because I have to like get dinner, get the video uploaded, get it, and you know, that's going to take some time. Why am I still playing this Zelda music? Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? It was like, you know when something is happening and you can't think? That was what was happening to me right there. I was sitting here and I was like, there was something in my head. It's like when you're hungry and you don't realize you're hungry and you start getting cranky. It was like that feeling. I had that feeling where there was this music playing in my head and I'm like, why can't I think? Why can't I think? And then I realized it's the Zelda music. It's the Zelda music. The Zelda music was killing me. When is it you play D&D? 10 p.m. tonight, I believe. Usually it's 9 p.m., but today is a little bit different because of things. I really don't want this helicopter, although I did pick up aluminum here. So for those of you, listen, if you're interested in watching the Let's Play, I wouldn't watch this because this is like major spoilers. All right, that's the downside. It's the downside, okay? This is the downside. If you haven't been keeping up with the live streams, you should leave now. These are some spoilers. How is your bunny? She's currently showing me her ass because there's like a corner of the cage she likes to sit in because the breeze comes through there, and it just so happens that the way that she sits there, she points her ass at me. Right, so obviously this is a continuation um, of our last stream, but we can appreciate your editor's work watching the Let's Play. Hell yeah. I see. Look at a Lily Pichu viewer. It says you started streaming 14 minutes ago, but the game is a lot more forward. Oh, these are spoilers. I'm gonna be leaving now. Yeah. Don't worry. If these are spoilers, get out. Um, do we have any Dino Riders in the mod? We do not. However, I would like to see that in a future version of this mod. What's her name? My rabbit's name is Eve. Evelyn. 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 Sometimes I jokingly call her Evelyn. Evelyn Sinclair, because I was watching a stream one time, and I think it was I was on live stream fails, and a clip from someone called Evelyn Sinclair was posted, and then and now I've realized that that person is actually like an adult entertainer. So yeah, that now that name is just stuck in my head when I look at my rabbit, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable because that's what happens to me sometimes. Sometimes I'll just be like going about my life and then like words will get stuck in my head. Like if I watch an Alfred Hitchcock film, like for whatever reason, um, my brain will like automatically switch his name to Alfred Horsecock, and then that's all it's like this is like every time I think of one of his films, it's like I like words get stuck in my head in like some weird semantic way. That's why she's showing her ass, I guess. True. So I actually just can't watch Alfred Hitchcock films anymore because it goes on for days. I have this thing where like words get stuck in my head and dude, I was watching some like I participate in like the Destiny subreddit community and stuff like that. One of the big memes that's been going around there for like a while now is the Sigma grind set, and it's been going around in like a bunch of different communities, but like that's the one I know it from. And for weeks now, whenever I'm like, all right, gonna do a stream, like in my head, the words Sigma grind set automatically play. It's so because I don't even want to think about but it's like unironic in my head. It's so annoying because I get like fixated on words and phrases, and Sigma grind set has been that phrase now for a while, and it's really annoying, and I try not to say it. It's almost like I don't know how to describe it. I've never like heard anyone else talk about this, but like words and phrases get jammed into my head, and I mean, have you consulted a therapist for help? I mean, it doesn't actually like cause me distress. It's just annoying. Like it doesn't make my life harder. It's just like it like generally speaking, you only really go to therapy if something is negatively affecting your life. Like words getting stuck in my head, it's not like I'm suffering. It's just kind of annoying. He's on the Sigma grind set. Dude, every time, like if I'm like, all right, gonna go to the gym, Sigma grind set, it plays in my head. Like it plays in my head, dude. Or if I'm like, sorry, girlfriend, gotta work tonight or whatever, it's like Sigma grind set, don't need women, Sigma, and it's just like the phrase just plays in my head. It's almost like I have a little annoying person who's read too many memes online. Like I have my own friend in my head who's me, who repeats memes to me in inappropriate times. That's the best way I can describe it. It's almost like an intrusive thought, but like again, it doesn't cause me distress. It's just annoying. It's like and it actually bleeds into my conversations too. I was talking to a couple of friends of mine last week about this, where we'll be like talking about something, and like let's say I have like a random piece of knowledge associated with it. I don't know. The example they gave was Hawaii. Like Hawaii has lots of spam, so they eat lots of spam meat because it's like preserved meat. So it's like not a delicacy, but it's like a staple food over in Hawaii. And so now, whenever someone talks about Hawaii, their mind automatically associates to spam, even though someone could be talking about like, oh, I went surfing in Hawaii. their mind will automatically go to spam, and I do that shit all the time. Like, and here's the horrible thing: it can like be a single word in a sentence that triggers a memory for me that makes me want to talk about that thing. So sometimes I'm having a conversation with somebody, and we'll be having like a completely normal, like say we're talking about maths, and they're like, well, you know, the sigma of this, you know, and the cosine and all that, and then in my head immediately, even though it's completely unrelated to the conversation, I'm like sigma male grind set. It's just like it starts playing in my head. So there's like trigger words that like change my mind. You must have been abducted by aliens. True. Anyway, word association, yeah. Okay. Talking about ADHD, I think that just might be ADD. I mean, again, it doesn't cause me any distress. It's just annoying. I generally you only need to get like therapy for things that actually cause you distress. If like I have a little bit of obsessive compulsion, but it's not a disorder because it doesn't affect my life. Like one of my compulsions is if I touch something with one hand, I have to touch it with the other. But I don't like it's like but it's only incidental touching. So like if I incidentally touch off a desk, I want to touch it with my other hand. But it's not like if I don't get to do it, it doesn't cause me like distress or upset me or make my life negative. It's just something that I feel compelled to do. And like that's the difference between a compulsion and a disorder, which is also why people who have OCD get super triggered when people say, "Oh, I'm so OCD, like I have to do XYZ." And they're like, "No, dude, you don't understand. I have to wash my hands like 17 times after I touch shellfish, or I will like actually break down and cry." And like that's the difference between a disorder and just like having a quirk. Anyway, enough talking. Let's play. We've done our we've warmed up the chat. Okay. So let me explain what's going to happen. I am going to say my intro, and then I'm not going to talk to chat. I will be reading chat during gameplay. So if you point things out to me, I will like occasionally glance over and catch them, and you can like help me fix my mistakes live. All right, you could be part of the creation of this YouTube video. So I'm going to do my intro, then I'll stop reading, like responding to chat so much, and we will continue on. So the first thing I need to do is to kind of remember where we are. We're doing our space race stuff, right? So we have all our spaceports ready, and I might just do this as a pretty long finisher episode. We also decided to go to war with Japan. So want to talk about spaceports, want to talk about the war with Japan. I want to talk about climate change, and how I survive through any potential meteors that are going to be coming very soon. Right, got it. I know what I'm doing. When I say I love you all, bye-bye, that does not mean the stream is over, okay? Listen. Purple Monkey Dishwasher, go, go, go. Thank you so much, Kalas Cassowary. It doesn't work like that. The words that stuck in my head have to be inappropriate. That's the trigger for me, is they're inappropriate. Which is sometimes why, like, I'll be at a funeral. I'll be at a funeral, and someone will be like, "Oh, hey, you know, Johnny, is your sister here?" And then in my head, I'm just like, "Tell him you fucked his sister," and it's like, "No, stop." Anyway, it's really annoying. That's like so inappropriate. Did you fix the camera? It looks so much better. It's just daytime. It's daytime. Hey, Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome to Civilization 6 as Arabia. Where we left off, we were in the process of getting a few spaceports online because we do want to go through the space race, and we are going to be having a little bit of a trouble with climate change because that it's going to trigger in the next little while, and then meteor is going to start dropping. So we need to have multiple spaceports to be able to exit the atmosphere and like get our spaceships off planet. We are also in the process of conquering Japan, and I'm doing this for like two basic reasons. Um, the first one is, the more cities that we have, the better defended we are from any potential meteor strikes, and we can build more spaceports and stuff like that. And the second reason is that it's just really, really fun to kill someone in a game of Civ 6. So that's really that's like the only justification you ever really need in a game of Civ 6 to attack someone, is like, I'm going to have fun killing you. But I do think it is time for yet more spaceports. Every single spaceport that we can get out will buy us time against the apocalypse, and that's the most important thing when you're in the late game, is the race against the apocalypse. Because when those meteors start dropping, shit gets hairy real fast. The nice thing too is Japan actually happened to be the person who was most likely to win a culture victory. So me taking him out, I've basically eliminated the best chance the AI had to actually beat me this game. Sendai is flipping independent, but we should have enough time to take Fukuoka before that becomes a huge problem. I could upgrade my bombers, but I feel like losing a turn on your bombers isn't worth it at this stage of the game, because every turn is like massive. And while fighters can attack cities here, you'll see they're going to do about like 10% of the city's health. You're far better off using fighters to attack units, because like, look how much damage it does to this Cuirassier. Boom. He's practically dead, and then we could use the city shot to finish him off. I'd like to take Takamatsu. I'm going to start using my artillery for that, so I'll get them into position. I'll pop you back to Nalanda for now and pop you over here. The nice thing is my artillery are good enough now to move and shoot, which makes me very happy because they have +1 movement from, I believe that's coming from logistics. Once your artillery have 3 movement, it allows them to move and shoot. So it's one of the like hidden bonuses that artillery can get. It's very, very powerful and very, very useful. And that applies to all siege units. Normally siege units can't attack and move, but once you give them +1 movement from any source, that's it. I think my spy, yeah, look at that. A spy from the Japanese Empire was killed. So they were trying to steal money from this city. Which means I got a kill on their spy and I leveled up my own spy. I'm going to take license to kill, seems fine. Basically, just leveling him up is actually fine to me, because your spies become more effective just from leveling up. You don't actually have to have a promotion in order for them to be more useful. Japan is begging me for peace, but I absolutely under no circumstances will I take peace. We have advanced ballistics, which gives us access to anti-air guns. I haven't seen enough aircraft from the AI to justify that, so I don't think I'll worry about that. I want to step forward here so I can start bombarding the city. This cuirassier is in a bit of an awkward spot for me to take on. I don't want to get shot by this city. Do I have a unit I could use? I could use a bomber, but the bomber is best used on Fukuoka because of the sheer amount of damage they do to cities compared to anything else. And I can almost take that city with a with my helicopter here. So I should be able to nab that next turn. So I'll just kill the cuirassier with my artillery instead. Let's have a look at these cities and see if there's any tile improvements I can really do to them. There's probably a lot. Yeah, I think Nalanda definitely needs a builder. There's at least 3 tiles worth improving. And getting those tiles improved is going to be a big part of our late game excellence. I'm also trying to like establish my religion in all these new cities because you actually take a negative to your loyalty for cities that aren't following your founded religion. So 3 religion is pretty damn good. 50 Australian dollars from Jordan Ramsey. I want to see some atomic fallout. Thank you so much, Jordan Ramsey. Super appreciate you. We'll probably might not be able to get nuclear stuff right now. But I will make an attempt. I will make an attempt to make nuclear bombs. I have the uranium. It is a bit of an open question as to whether I should go for more research labs now. At this point, I think really what I need to do, these newly occupied cities, is optimize them. So getting things like this uranium online is a big part of what I'm going to do. So I may crack out like 2 builders in here to kind of filter things around. The city of Okayama is never really going to be useful. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just buy a granary in it. And then I'll get myself a builder just to keep it busy. It's sort of a similar problem with Sendai. The city just doesn't have enough population to justify anything. So I'm going to force work some food in here to try and grow the city. But the real problem is the lack of housing in Sendai. Which means things like a sewer would be pretty important to get that up to 7 pop. 7 pop isn't massive, but it might get us somewhere. And then if I can get a neighborhood down, ideally somewhere with at least 4 housing. There's a 5 housing spot here, which I think I will grab. Although then again, the appeal of this tile is likely not to hold for much longer. So I'll probably just crack it on the coastline here. This city's major problem is just the lack of housing. So let's convert Sendai. That'll give me a little bit more time with my loyalty in here. It's only dropping by 2.2 now, which means I have more than 6 turns. I have like 30 turns. So more like 15 turns, 16, 18 maybe. It looks like there might be some new stuff we can buy. We could buy a bunch of horses, but nobody really wants horses. I could buy Great Works. 3 culture isn't bad, to be honest, so I'll go ahead and grab that. And the AI are also willing to sell me Diplo favor, although that's not what I want. I will go ahead and sell my tobacco for raw gold, ideally. Jesus, look at this flooding that's happened in here. Yeah, so this is one of the advantages you have when you're playing in the apocalypse mode. If you're first to industrialization and you can be the one to start flooding the world by pumping out CO2, it also is likely to mean that you're the first person to computers to get flood barriers, and so everyone else is going to be suffering massively from the coastal flooding. You can see here, tons of tiles have already flooded over here. More tiles are flooding over here. Because I believe when you're playing on the apocalypse mode, more of the coastline is sort of flagged for flooding. Let's keep stealing gold from Canada. They want to buy my great works. I really don't want to sell my great works. My great works are one of my best sources of culture right now.
Water and air, the two essentials on which life depends, have become global garbage cans.
We have conservation now, so we've access to resource management if we start running out of aluminum again. I have access to communism. I think the big late game thing I would maybe pick up is probably globalization for the International Space Agency, or possibly social media for collective activism to be able to get more culture. One of those two, I think, is the right choice. But they share Cold War as a prerequisite, and I'll be in a better position to make that decision in the near future. So I'll probably take Cold War and Space Race, and then see how we stand, and we'll make a decision between globalization and social media. Tokyo is doing really well. It has nearly 60 production. What else do I want to do with this city? I could build another spaceport. I may actually grab myself. Actually, I don't really have a very good industrial zone in here. I mean, there's a +3 industrial zone, which isn't terrible. I think I'll yoink a tile or two like this and this. I do have conservation, don't I? Yeah, I have conservation. So I could put a forest here. But what I'll likely do is do the Manhattan Project in Tokyo. We're sitting on 3 envoys. I could take suzerainty of Mitla. I don't think I need suzerainty of Mitla. Taruga is okay to take suzerainty of. I might just grab suzerainty of Akkad just for the sake of it. Bologna, I'm feeling pretty bad about not having suzerainty of. Chinguetti would be quite good, actually, because I am sending quite a few trade routes internationally. It's a lot of faith. It's hard to get them, though. Zanzibar would give me a ton of amenities, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up Zanzibar. That's like 12 amenities across my empire, and considering I'm going to be stretched for amenities in the late game because I'm expanding rapidly, that'll do the job for me. I'm going to deploy my fighter over the city of Sendai so I can have some vision. There's a pair of Japanese bombers, what looks like doing some damage to my empire, but I will take out Fukuoka this turn. I'll get my helicopter in here to nab the city. That'll get him a promotion. We'll keep the city. I think I'm going to start building a little bit of renewable power. I'm a little bit worried about just how much CO2 is going into the atmosphere, and I'd like to delay that process by a few turns if I could. So I'll probably also be switching over to nuclear power in Amazon, the second that we have nuclear power plants researched. Now here's what I'll do. I'll attack with this artillery, and then I'll combine these two artillery together. I'll move you forward a tile, and then we'll shoot this city. Perfect. So good progress being made here. Ooh, took a pretty hefty hit there. I should be able to use my fighter to help with that. But anyway, there's nuclear fission. We do have a source of uranium, and uranium is an incredibly efficient power source. So I'm going to immediately convert to nuclear power in Amazon, even at the detriment of delaying my spaceport. Right now, this thing here is pumping out 7 coal worth of power. And if we check the coal power plant, I don't remember how much CO2 that is. Yeah, I think every coal is worth 4 or something. Like, coal is ridiculous. Whereas if you consider uranium, it's way, way, way less bad. Yeah, it's like for every 10 coal I'm burning, I'm getting 32 units of CO2 in the atmosphere, which is just not good enough. I need to make the switch. In fact, I'm probably burning coal in some other places as well. Nalanda, I reckon I should switch to uranium power as well. So that's immediately what we're going to do in here as well. Let's start hammering Tamutsu. I'll pull this artillery back. I'll use my fighter to kill this cuirassier. I'll promote this artillery as well. Boom. And then I'll continue to hammer the city from here. I got a great artist, but I don't have anywhere to put their artwork, so I'll just put them to sleep somewhere. And if you're wondering why I want to slow down the global warming, it's because when the global warming reaches the maximum phase, that's when the meteors start dropping. So by slowing down the amount of emissions that I'm putting out, I'll buy myself a few extra turns before my cities will start getting hit by the asteroids. I think we might be able to conquer this city this turn. So we'll give them an L blast, like so, and then I'll get my helicopter to cross my empire and take this city out. Probably reaching now towards the end of what we actually want. Do I have a unit around that I could upgrade to give my cities better combat strength? Because right now my city combat strength is only 33, or 33, we might say. If I upgrade this lad to a machine gun and then come back to the city's combat strength will be 78, which is much, much stronger, because your city's combat strength is based on the strongest ranged combat unit that you have. So that's why it's always good to have just one crossbowman, one field cannon, one machine gun. It makes your cities just do a significant amount more damage. So looking at Yokohama as a city, um, it's got good housing. It's got a reasonable surplus of food. I think part of the problem is that it's occupied, so it's not growing very well. But I would say the city has like a good enough surplus of food between these farms and these plantations that I probably don't need much more food. I will put a farm triangle here, I reckon, because there's already a farming resource, so I may as well take advantage of that. But otherwise, the majority of this is going to be lumber mills and mines from now on, and maybe the occasional solar panel, depending on the tile itself. We'll start the Manhattan Project in Tokyo. That's going to take 16 turns. However, I might be able to speed that up somehow. Let me see here. If I grab these lumber mills, I added 3 more lumber mills, so that took 3 turns off. And I reckon that's the best I'm going to do. Morbus, we got a donation. Turd Ferguson, thank you, Potato. Just got my first deity win with Portugal, and the owls watching your videos taught me how to play, how to focus my empires. Love the content. Have a great day. Thank you so much, Turd Ferguson. I really appreciate your 10 USD. Thank you. And if you're wondering, like, what's the logical connection between, emitting carbon dioxide and meteor showers? There isn't one. They just wanted to have like a flashy way to cause the apocalypse, because it's kind of the New Frontier Pass, which was the latest expansion for Civilization 6, was really focused on kind of a fantasy, where maybe things are a little bit less plausible. Things are not necessarily true to history. And this was actually something that I think I advocated for. I said I'd like to see them kind of go in a more fantasy direction with some of the expansions. I think that was about 2 or 3 years ago. And so maybe that's partially why they felt a bit more brave to do these kind of silly things, where you have things like heroes, you have things like the apocalypse, you have things like, cults and doom cults and all this sort of stuff. And I don't know, I think it just, a little bit of fantasy, I think makes the game a little bit more interesting. It adds a bit of dynamicism to it. We have our very first spaceport completed in Cairo. Now, this city has incredible growth, but it's lacking in production. So I think one builder in here and then some tile switching perhaps would be the sus. So we'll quickly grab myself a builder in 2 turns. Actually, I'm going to launch the Earth satellite, and I'll build the builder in Jeddah instead, because it's still miles away from doing its spaceport. I'm going to yoink that lumber mill and yoink this farm too.
God said, let there. The Cold War is not thawing. It is.
Right, I think this is going to be the last Japanese city that I take, the city of Kyoto. So we're going to bomb the hell out of it first. And then we'll step forward with our artillery to bombard it. And I think one turn from now we should be able to nab it. Tagamutsu is kind of another one of these like semi-useless cities that I've managed to grab. I mean, it has really, really good production, don't get me wrong, but that's about all that it has going for it. I reckon some of the districts that it had in here must have flooded, otherwise the city would have been in a much better position. But at this point, to save a single antiquity site doesn't seem worth it to me. So instead I'll just work on a sewer in here and then have a think about what I actually want to do with it. So all of Nalanda's tiles are now improved. So let's have a look at Fukuoka. There's definitely things like the silk here that we could improve. Oh, we're taking a little bit of damage from these boats. Another couple bombings of the city should do the job, and I'll use my fighter to take out that ironclad. And then boom, the city of Kyoto is mine. And I've pretty much kicked Japan off of this continent. I basically doubled the size of my empire in terms of cities and completely crippled my greatest competitor. I don't know if it's worth it to continue this combat. I could completely wipe Japan off the face of the planet, but I would reckon that would be like an awful lot of work for very little gain. So I'll probably piece them out next turn and then look for some other angle. Fukuoka definitely needs a farm triangle to help the city grow. It'll need a farm triangle and a neighborhood. So I'll get to work on both of those things. So things like builders are going to be key for that plan. It is quite difficult to make decisions about what to do with newly conquered cities. I will admit that happily. Because like at this point of the game where you start conquering cities, you've got like about 500 things going on in your head. So it could be tough. But that's the nice thing about games like Civilization 6 is that there's no time limit on your turn in single player. So you get to think about things.
When we look up at nuclear fusion.
Alright, boom, there's nuclear fusion. We will want to do Operation Ivy in the near future. However, we do have to finish the Manhattan Project first. And I reckon the target of our nuclear adventures might be Eleanor. Or who has caused my wrath the most this game? I feel like it was Eleanor. Eleanor really messed me up in the early game and completely screwed me. And there's also a couple of city-states we could liberate from her. But I definitely want to be researching smart materials now. Ideally, I would have actually already finished launching the Earth satellite. And ideally, I would also be feeding builders directly into this here, but I actually completely forgot to get the Royal Society, so I'll get to work on that now. Just completely slipped my mind. Right, we'll put a farm here and then another farm here, and that's because every farm that you have adjacent to a farm will increase the food of all adjacent farms by +1. So if you have 2 farms next to each other, each farm will get an extra +1 food. If you have 3 farms all touching each other, each farm is actually worth 3 food. 1 base food, +1 for each farm. So this gives us a really, really good food muscle, essentially. I don't know if you play Bridge Constructor. This is like the strong muscle of your city that helps you get enough population to actually be useful. So having a farm triangle is good. And in the late game, you could put them on hills. I prefer to put them on flatland. However, putting them on hills isn't bad because at least the hills have a little bit of production. Let's talk now to Japan and we'll say, listen, buddy, right, it's time for peace. Give me everything you have. I want it all. And I want it now. So I'll take all of his money. I'll take at least 20 Diplo favor because you can never take more than 20 from the AI. I'll take every ounce of gold he has. I'll take every great work that he is willing to give me. I will take it. Boom. It's ours now. 734 grievances against us. Would you like an embassy? We're happy to allow you to construct an embassy. Oh, you've just conquered half my civilization. Would you like to open a diplomatic office in our empire? Right. So we took them for everything they're worth. And now all these cities are like legitimately mine. I wonder how well Korea is doing actually this game. Let's have a look. Are you even doing the space race yet? Oh, Montezuma is actually ahead of me in the space race. Fair play to you, Montezuma. However, oh Jesus, actually there's a few people here. Pedro is beating me as well. I'm actually last to the space race here. I did delay my spaceports. Now I should be first, as I am in everything. I should be first eventually, but it'll just take a little bit of time. I think I can put my airplanes to sleep now. I don't need them for a little while. I'm being denounced by Poland, but they can stay mad. They're not anywhere near me, so they can't do anything to me. Is anyone really surprised that Poland is denouncing someone who killed their smaller neighbor? So we got our nuclear power plant in here. Now, one of the big advantages of the nuclear power plant is that it's much more efficient in terms of resources. So we're only using 2 uranium compared to the nearly 7 coal that we were burning. Actually, Tokyo needs a bunch of renewable energy. I kind of, I'm going to just deprioritize this mechanized infantry and instead I'm going to grab myself a builder in here to try and get a little bit of renewable. But yeah, in Amazon, we're going to look here at the nuclear power plant. So the nuclear power plant gives every city within 4 tiles, it gives them +4 production and +3 science. So that's a huge amount of science. You think this power plant here is hitting 6 cities. It's hitting Amazon, Baghdad, Aleppo, Cairo, Jeddah, and Homs. So that's 6 times 4 production. Maths is difficult. That's like 24 production. 6 times 3 science. That's 18 science. These are incredibly efficient buildings, which is why I think you should probably try to get like a industrial zone every game that hits like 4 to 5 cities, because they're just efficient. Now you might say there's an opportunity cost for going for them. I would agree with you there. You don't have to get your industrial zone. You can actually get away with not building them, but I do think they're efficient. Jesus, Montezuma's already nearly done with the moon landing. Of course. Right, I'm going to try and vote this down pretty heavily. I think I'll go with 9, because I really just don't want a war right now with the whole world. Not until I have nuclear weapons. Once I have nuclear weapons, they can come at me, bro. Like, but until then, I'd like to keep any emergencies on the down low.
In this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy.
We have the space race now. It could be good to plug an integrated space cell, but not many of my cities have encampments. World's Fair has gone through, and I actually did win it, so I got 100 great people points across the board. I'm curious if there's a great person that I really want. Well, I definitely want Carl Sagan, and I will also grab Mary Catherine Goddard, because she gives you +1 diplomatic visibility with all civilizations, which is essentially equivalent to getting +3 combat strength against all civilizations. And I don't remember how the combat strength calculations work out. I actually need to get a video and like do a video on that so people can like understand it more thoroughly. But roughly speaking, +7 combat strength is 50% more, +7 or +10 combat strength is 50% more damage, and then +17 combat strength is 100% more damage, and then +30 combat strength is 200% damage. That's roughly how the numbers work out. So a +3 combat strength boost for every single person in the entire game from diplomatic visibility is massive. It's a massive amount of combat strength. Consider how many situations that's going to be applying in, where I'm taking less damage and doing more damage. I'd actually really like to do a biosphere tourism run. That seems like really exciting to me. I'm likely going to pick up all of the science and culture I need. So I'll probably just grab social media so I can get that little bit of extra culture from collective activism, and then I'll pick up globalization. So we converted to nuclear power over here as well. That's giving me even more production and using even less uranium. I will want to find another source of uranium though. Because I'm currently burning all of my uranium in nuclear reactors. So if I could grab another copy, it would be great. And it looks like most of it spawned like in really awkward places. Like really, really far out. I might actually be able to grab this one. It's really tough. Yeah, there's not really a lot of uranium on the map, and I hit basically the only one. So it might be hard for me to get nuclear bombs this game. You don't need them though, so should be fine. I can use renewables to make up the difference. So the city of Kyoto is in relatively okay nick. It has most of its fishing boats online, which is good. Did it ever build a harbour? It never built a harbour. I would have definitely built a harbour in this city. So I think a sewer is the right call until I can get a harbour. I'm going to hold on to Carl Sagan. He generates 3,000 science towards space race projects, but the Earth satellite is only 900, whereas I believe the Mars colony is 3,000, and then the moon landing is, I want to say, 1,800. Whatever it is, we don't need to use him immediately, so I'll hold on to him because I don't think his thing overflows. Yokohama is now looking much better than it used to. We've got a lot more tiles improved. We've plenty of food, loads of production. Now this is starting to look like a city where I could get a spaceport in a reasonable time and it could contribute to my win condition. If you're looking for a quick tip, that's it. Potatoes quick tips. I'd like text to appear on the screen, and as I say that, we're gonna harvest the deer, because camps only give you one food, one production. If you harvest the deer outside of the tundra, deer always spawn on forests. So you harvest the deer and then you put a lumber mill on it, right? So we harvest the deer, boom. And then next turn we'll put a lumber mill on it and we'll have a 1 food 4 production tile, which is really good. Build ourselves a geothermal plant here in Tokyo that'll give us a little bit of local power. And then I think a couple of solar cells will do the job. I'll vote 5 times for myself in the trade policy outcome. I'll just throw whatever spare Diplo favor I have there into myself as well. And I'll say trading with scientific city-states is the best move because they're the most popular ones. Unlikely that I win all 3 of these, but we'll give it a go. It's a mega colossal eruption. Lovely. Right inside amazing. Pedro won that one, Eleanor won that one, and Religious Cities. So we won none of them, which is a bit unfortunate. But we did get error score from researching smart materials, which is the end game technology. This, once someone has researched this, I would consider us now officially into the last 50 turns of the game. The second that this is researched, the clock is ticking on the game being over. Can you stop eating the floor, Eve? I swear to Christ. Being cute is not enough. Would you give it up? My rabbit is eating the floor. It's really distracting. She likes to bite it and then pull it. She's not actually eating it. Are you actually eating it? Yeah, the sound of your treat bag got your attention, didn't it? Yeah, that's right. Morbus is going to have to edit all this out because of you now, isn't he? Yeah, that's right. God, she is such a hungry animal. You see these things? Whatever these are, okay? This is like crack for rabbits, okay? It's like the rustle of the bag, the rustle of the bag alone is enough for her to sit there and look at me now. Look at her. She wasn't there a minute ago until I rustled the bag. Let me go give her one. I threw it at her and she's so dumb it landed on her foot and she's like now searching the cage desperately for it. She found it. She's eating it. Alright, let's go back to Civ. She has a pretty prison. Shut the fuck up, Adam. Calling it a prison. How dare you? It's practically a duplex. Man, that totally threw me off what I was doing here. I don't think Takamatsu is going to build a spaceport soon enough to really participate in the space race. So probably the best thing I can do in here is just spam builders to feed into other space races, into spaceports rather. Right, let's pop down a solar farm here. And now the city of Tokyo is completely powered via renewables. With geothermal and the solar power plant doing the trick. I think it would be kind of cool if the world had like a little bit of hemisphere influence on things. Like maybe towards the center of the world, solar power produces 4 electricity. And then you get up to like the north and southern half of things, and then it's 3. And then you get all the way to the edge. Or like maybe it's like 3 in here in the very, very center. And then it's like 2 as you get a little bit more north. And then once you're up like the far, far, far north, it's like 1. Although then again, I actually don't know how badly latitude affects the productivity of solar power. So that's a bit of an open question to me anyway, because I just don't know. So yeah, now you can see we've got a 1 food, 5 production tile where that deer used to be, which is better than a camp. Camps are good, don't get me wrong. But really, Okayama just isn't going to grow fast enough for that to be relevant. Wait, did I never research harbors? Oh my god, I never researched harbors. That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. That's hilarious. Wait. Someone just said, I just got a message saying the Canary Islands just erupted. What the hell? Canary Islands volcano. Well, this is really bad shit, because if that like lets out a dust cloud, we're in for a very cold winter. Oh man, that shit's going straight through a village and everything. Houses on fire? That's crazy. Damn, dude. Oh my god, dude, there's houses being engulfed by lava. Hang on, how can I show you guys this? Look at this. This is nuts. Dude, there's lava on these people's houses. What in the name of Christ? Dude, that dude's pool. You're never getting your house back. I'm sorry, it's over for you. Jesus Christ. This is like the lava zone. I think it erupted from here and it's heading now towards heading this way towards the ocean. This is like, can you, we're trying to talk about a volcano, can you stop? Oh my god. Rabbit, I swear to god. Anyway. Mugga W. When's the last time it erupted? A long ass time ago. Although very appropriate considering we're playing the apocalypse mode in Civ 6. Please stop. Hey. Hey. Stop it. Oh my god, dude. Animals trigger the hell out of me because they just don't listen, because they're just like, I have got this thing in my mind, I'm going to chew the floor now. Stop it. I hate when rabbits are being like bold. I hate that it's like very, very hard. Like I have to like find. Let me find her a toy. Hold on. Like that'll shut her up. Hey, sweetheart, where? Here. Look, it's a toy. Oh. Good girl. Oh, good girl. Do 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 do. Oh yeah, I Please don't go back to chewing the floor. I just gave you a toy. I have a button now, or I should, where I can turn off and on my webcam without having to do anything difficult. Floor is a better toy. I just gave you a cardboard box. You love cardboard boxes. No. Stop. She like does it and then looks at me. That's because like I know she's trying to get my attention. I gave you a toy. Now she's like only half-heartedly doing it, knowing that she's getting my attention. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, you want food? You hungry? Here you go. Look, it's food. I know you like food. Good girl. Yes. Eat. Good girl. That's the noise I make when I'm giving her food, and I hope that it's like a positive association for her. I make that like noise. All right. It's a baby. It's a little rabbit. She's annoying. I find giving her like a little pinch of food. She has these things called like little biscuits. If I give her like a little handful of those, she'll like eat them and shut up for a while, and then I can like address the behavior properly later. Not a great time to do it on stream.
And all I ask is a tall ship.
Yeah, so with our 1,000 science per turn, we just picked up Celestial Navigation, which means I can finally build harbors. I can't believe I completely forgot to just research that. I am going to centralize all of my trade routes into my capital now, because that's where I want all my production to be. So anytime a trade route needs to be renewed, it will be moved into my capital. Stop chewing the floor. I really do feel like that's something you could say to a child. Like, please stop chewing the floor. I remember the very first time, right, when this pandemic just started, the very first time I went to the shop, I had like gloves on, I had a mask, I was sweating. I was like, I'm not touching anything, because my family we were like, oh, Jesus, what do we do? Because everyone was terrified. We had no idea what this virus was about. There was no treatment. It was scary. It had just gotten into the country. Lockdown was announced. And we were like, we need groceries. And I was like, well, all right, grand. So this is like mask mandates renew. I felt like because my glasses were like fogging up. I had the mask over my face. I had like little gloves on, so my hands were sweaty. I felt like I was in like full biohazard equipment. And I got to the shopping center and I was like on edge, man. I wasn't ready to deal with a global pandemic. I was ready to just hunker down in my house and go into debt to order food every single day of the week at this point because I was freaked out. And I got to the queue to go into the shop, and some woman had brought like 3 kids with her to the shop. And like I had just gotten to the back of the queue and I like looked up and I couldn't really see very well because my glasses were kind of foggy. And I just see a child with like his mouth on the handlebar of the trolley of the shopping cart, and his mother immediately is like, "Don't lick the trolley." And I was like, that was it. I was just like, man, I actually can't deal with the general public. And I almost just like straight up got back in the car and went home because I just couldn't deal with the fact that everyone was dirty to me at that point because I was so freaked out by the pandemic. Like people, like I just had like, it was like my worst nightmare. It's like I'm gonna go get groceries and everyone's gross and full of germs, and some child is like licking the trolley carts, and then I just have visions of me holding the trolley cart that I have and like thousands of sick children just like slothering all over it, and now I'm covered in the COVID. It was a horrifying experience. All right, we all got a bit hysterical around then. Or maybe that was just me, who knows. Jesus. The eruption. So yeah, let's do a couple more spaceports over here. Again, purely just to make sure that if I get hit by a... if I get hit by words are hard, okay? If I get hit by a meteor, in some of my core cities and it destroys a couple of spaceports, it's not the end of the world. I will survive. I will stay alive. Can Liang defend against meteors? No. She protects me from the volcano, negative side effects, but meteors will still absolutely wreck my city. I have like so much faith, but that's mostly going to be used for great scientists and great engineers of a reasonable, persuasion. We got our spaceport in Baghdad. I reckon. Builder. If we can build up a supply of builders, we'll be able to launch a ton of projects really, really fast. We got a neighborhood in Sendai. The city does not have very good growth prospects. I mean, they're okay. It has 3 food tiles, so it'll do okay. It's 48 production already, actually, which is kind of like not bad at all. I reckon we go for the food market in here to try to grow the city a little bit more. Growth, I've become a much bigger fan of growth in this game. For a long time, I thought growth was a bit crap, but I've kind of seen the light now, and I can see the error of my ways.
Pantanal.
Boom, there is the Earth satellite, which is going to completely reveal the planet to me. So we found like a ton of new natural wonders, like Paiti. I don't know why it's not. There you go. Paiti is all the way over here. We've got Pantanal, all that sort of jazz. So we know where everything is. And now if we search for uranium again, there'll probably be like 10 copies, and we'll know exactly where they are. Yeah, there's one here, one here, one here. Yeah, they're all in these like really awkward, hard to get locations. None of them are really viable for us to get, except for that one that we managed to nab. The only one I would maybe consider trying for, but that won't work. I'd have to get a settler through her territory. I mean, maybe it's worth a try to get a little bit of extra uranium. And we'll use our gold, right? Actually, my settlers are very cheap. If I were to get a settler and an escort for that settler, I reckon we would use a machine gun, combine them together, just get there as fast as you can. So I have a couple of spaceports now done, so I want to look around, and I think my capital is still my most productive city. The moon landing is 1500 production, so we're going to get to work on that. That's 12 turns. But we now have the ability to feed builders into our spaceports because we finished our tier 3 government building. So that'll actually be able to be brought down significantly. And I'm going to be spending money to buy builders in my Liang city to speed these up even more. So we're actually really on the home stretch now. And I'm building like endless supplies of builders to be able to finish these projects ASAP. Let's go ahead and grab Pingala with 30% space program. That'll come in handy in the near future. Make sure we're building a few ski resorts as well, because I believe ski resorts now give the owning city +1 amenity. I think that was one of the updates they did. Yeah, provides an amenity. So that's pretty handy to be able to get an extra amenity in a few cities. So mountains are now quite good in the late game for that kind of thing. Right, we have access to giant death robots, but unfortunately we don't have the uranium. Am I within range to maybe get... I could maybe get this uranium here. That'd be a long journey through unfamiliar and hostile territory. You know what, we'll give it a go. I'll get mutual open borders with this lad. I'll sell off some resources. I have so many spares. I don't know where I got whales. I think maybe that's from like a Japanese city. But I'm going to look for as much raw gold as I can get from all these AIs. And looks like we're getting a pretty good deal on that. And then I'll go ahead and buy myself a settler, link these guys together, and send them over here to see if we can grab that uranium. Take a long time to get there. We may never get there. Shah Jahan... I don't think I have a wonder that I really want to build, but passing on this guy might not be the best move. So I'll go ahead and pick him up anyway. Go ahead and feed another builder into my space project. Boom, brought that down another turn. So essentially feeding builders into your project kind of basically shaves off roughly a turn every time you do it. So it's pretty valuable. It's pretty valuable to do it if you can. We got our neighborhood in Fukuoka, and this city actually has very good surplus food on the order of 15 per turn, which is kind of a crazy amount of surplus food at this stage of the game. Pretty much any stage of the game, that's a really good surplus. So I don't think it needs much more on any of those fronts. I think the thing to do here would be to get the temple and then get the research building. The stupa here for amenities. I love playing with high amenities. I don't know, it's just really fun to me. We'll insert another builder into here. That's down to 5 turns now. Everything is coming up Millhouse. How is the world going? We're about to enter into the second last phase of climate change. And I think I may be able to win just as the apocalypse happens. We made the switch to nuclear and renewables at like the exact time where it's not going to be an issue for us. I would like a stadium. I think this city was meant to be where I build my nukes though. So I'll probably just buy the stadium for the amenities, because the stadium is over here. That hits at least 3 cities, so boom. There you go. 3 cities with plus 3 amenities, I believe. And then I could do the Estadio del Maracana. Nuclear device is kind of attractive, though. I like that plan. Level up a spy. I like con artist. It means stealing gold is very, very easy. That's just the way I like to roll. Yoink all that gold. Sure, why wouldn't I become a YouTuber if I didn't like yoinking gold? Modern era ends next turn. We'll keep feeding those builders in. Boom. Moon landing next turn too. It's all coming together perfectly in the late game. I don't know, this is just the most satisfying phase of the game for me, because it's kind of where you get to see the fruits of all your labor come together for the grand finale. I would like a military engineer, but I have to buy that next turn because I kind of want to do a couple of railroads. The world enters into the atomic era. And so too do we launch the moon landing. With the launch of the moon landing, I'm quite happy because now we're going to get the culture ramp that you get in the late game. I'm going to take out Merchant Confederation and plug in Collective Activism because that's worth 100 culture per turn. I think I don't need to change my policy cards for liberalism or anything like that. Sports media, maybe? No, I think it's fine. I think it's fine the way we have it at the moment. I think I'm happy with this setup. A little bit of production, a little bit of science, better builders, more amenities. And if you're wondering why I have the builder production card still plugged in, it's because when you're feeding builders into spaceports, the amount of production they give is actually relative to the number of build charges they have. So if you have 6 build charges and you have the pyramids and all that sort of stuff, which I think we do, we actually do have the pyramids. So the only way to get even more is actually to play China, which is also why China's +1 build charge mechanic is actually technically a science race boost because they can feed higher charge builders into their spaceports, which means they get better returns. Now, if I'm looking at this, I reckon we take Heartbeat of Steam again. 10% production towards late game wonders, but more importantly, our campus district science adjacency has turned into production. And because we have the 5-year plan plugged in, that's doubling the adjacency of our campuses up to 6, and then that's getting converted into production. So if I go into Cairo here and I hover over the production, you can see we've got a +6 from campus. I'm going to promote Pingala all the way to the final promotion because I get to get a little bit of era score. It's also like a nice little achievement to do in a game. I'll send a spy to my capital as well. I'd like to protect this spaceport if I could with a spy. Boom, there's globalization as well. I'll swap out Wisselbank and plug in the International Space Agency, which gives me 5% science, which turns out to be nearly 270% science because I have so many suzerainties. If you're wondering again, how do I see these numbers on my policy cards? You need to get the extended policy card mod, and then it has a sister mod called the Better Report screen. You need both of those together, and then you'll be able to see these numbers on your cards. Super helpful, super handy. I have enough overflow culture from the moon landing. If you don't know, when you launch the moon landing, you get 10 times your science as culture. So I had about 1,000 culture or 1,000 science there. So I got about 10,000 culture, which allows me to kind of quickly research a couple of things. I reckon synthetic technocracy is now an upgrade for me. That's a 30% boost to all city projects and +3 power in every city. I do miss out on the on the communism thing, the production per citizen and this 10% science. But to be honest, at this point, 10% science is good, but it's not the most necessary thing. Um, Look, if you look at this production from population, I'm getting 13 production from population. I'd much rather maybe a 30% boost to my production towards projects. So I will go ahead and pick up synthetic technocracy, and then we'll head basically straight for the late game. Once we have this decision made, our decisions don't matter. It is valid entirely to stay in communism. I just want to do something a little bit different this game. So we'll feed another builder in there, down to 9 turns on that.
We find everywhere men of mechanical genius.
So it can be hard to decide to go to synthetic technocracy because like 10% science is actually quite a lot at this point of the game, but I don't need much more science, and I'm really limited by production. And since I'm going for a science victory, synthetic technocracy feeds really well into that because it gives me the power that I need. Don't forget, some space race projects actually take electricity, they take power. And the extra 30% production towards space race projects is helpful. We don't care about tourism, and we get a ton of wildcard slots, so we have much better choices on how we want to run our government. So I reckon you're usually better off going for this. Not always, but a lot of the time it can be worth it. I definitely want to keep in logistics. I care less about levée en masse. At this point, I'm making so much gold and have such a small army that it doesn't really actually matter. It might be good to get e-commerce, however. That makes your trade routes really, really powerful. Stadiums generating +1 amenity is quite powerful because I think that amenity gets spread around. Autocratic legacy isn't terrible. I could plug in communist legacy and then I still get the 50 or so production I was getting from that, which isn't terrible at all. Let's see, is there anything I could plug in here? I feel like integrated space cells should have been good, but it's not very good for me this game. I think I would take anything that gave me amenities at this point. So sports media is good. Oh, I completely forgot. Oh, I completely forgot to research the most important card. See, this was changed actually in the not too recent past. I forgot to research nuclear program, which allows me to get an insane amount of great scientist points. That's a huge mistake. Anyway, we'll grab that quickly and we'll change that next turn. I missed out on so many great scientist points actually. It's a rather large mistake.
enemy. The release of atom power has
Boom,
changed
there's Science
everything.
Foundations. This gives you 2 great scientist points per turn for every university, which is basically tripling the amount of great scientist points you get from universities, and you get +4 from every research lab, which is basically quintupling how much you get from every research lab. This is such a good card. Absolutely awful mistake that I forgot to plug it in. To put that into perspective, I was making 62 great scientist points per turn, so that number should have been like in the hundreds. And this is the last and most important tech in the game, the off-world mission. This will be actually what we use to accelerate our spaceship and win the game. Keep on feeding builders in. We're 2 turns away from launching the Mars colony, which means I think we're actually only 1 turn away. Because with another builder feed, we should be able to pull it off. "13 turns until the sea level rise." This is actually going to be the very first time I played in apocalypse mode and I managed to win before the apocalypse happened. That's kind of baffling. It's never happened. It's never, ever, ever happened. So I'm a little bit excited actually to potentially pull it off. I'm definitely well in the lead now. Only Montezuma has actually managed to launch the moon landing as well. And he doesn't even have nanotechnology researched. Whereas I'm already launching my Mars colony. So as far as I can tell, I'm super in the lead when it comes to science victory.
Knowledge of their past history.
So let's feed a builder in, and boom, that'll instantly finish the Mars colony, which is +4 era score as well. And now we've been holding on to Carl Sagan because he's worth 3,000 production, and the Mars colony was 1,800, but the exoplanet expedition, that is 2,100. So Carl Sagan now, the second we finish the Mars colony, we can instantly finish the exoplanet expedition, which means Carl Sagan has done his job. Once the exoplanet expedition is launched, we're now officially... The game has a timer on it. In 50 turns or less, we will win the game. So we have launched the exoplanet. It's traveling 1 light year per turn. And then this is where off-world mission is going to come into things next turn. So all things considered, it all lined up pretty well. So wherever I have spaceports now, I'll be switching over to producing off-world mission things. And now pretty much the only thing I should be building in non-spaceport cities is builders to feed into spaceports. It's time to start spreading them around wherever it makes sense. We've got access to... What is that? It's a Kraken. Oh my god. What is this? A manta? I love... It's a manta ray. Look at that bad boy. Very spooky. Culturally, I'm not worried about anyone. I don't think anyone's going to win a diplomatic victory. Pedro's on 13 points. He doesn't have the time. I think we've got this in the bag now, which is kind of cool. So let's settle here on the uranium. And I'll probably just straight up invest money into the city. It's never going to be useful, but I will just get it to build a harbour. It mostly exists to increase my uranium supply so I could build more nuclear bombs. Speaking of nuclear bombs, my first one is finished. So maybe as a celebration, once we win, we'll just start nuking someone.
No, my friends.
There's off-world missions, so now we have a way to spend our aluminium and our power, which is absolutely what we're going to be doing, especially because we get +3 power in all cities, which is essentially like a free off-world mission. So I think we'll start with terrestrial laser stations. I'll feed a builder into there, and then I'll finish the builder. So every time we build one of these two projects, either the Lagrange laser station or the terrestrial laser station, whichever one of them that we build, it will accelerate the speed of the rocket that we sent to some other, area in our galaxy. So right now we're traveling 1 light year per turn. And it's time to come in here and start cancelling all these. We want to be building a mixture of Lagrange laser stations, terrestrial laser stations. So we'll feed that builder in, and then we'll finish those builders. And I'm also using military engineers now to build railroads to my various cities so that the builders that I do make can get around really easy. If you're ever wondering where your railroads are, you can actually just open up the map search and then do a search for rail. And you can very easily see where I've actually managed to build the little few chunks of railroad that I have already. And now we can start researching future tech, which will give us more score as well as a 5% boost to all city projects, which includes things like the laser stations. We got our very first nuclear device. Let's go ahead and do Operation Ivy. I do kind of like the juxtaposition of us just recruiting H.G. Wells as a great writer and literally be sending an off-world mission.
Justice is the bond of men in state.
Alepsa is making me loads of builders, which I'm super happy about because I can feed them into my space race projects. Boop, boop, boop. So many popping off now. If you look at the range that this builder can travel, he can reach all the way down here. But if I come through and I maybe make another railroad here and then pop a railroad here, now he can reach, quite a bit further. He just needs a little bit more rail and I'll be able to get my guys down way further south really quickly. So rail just kind of speeds things up a little bit. Just make sure you're always putting your spies to counter spy on your spaceport districts. It's the best way to keep any negative consequences from happening.
My beloved, fill the cup that...
In terms of city-states, I don't think I really care that much about city-states anymore, except maybe for like... Yeah, no, I really just don't. I guess Johannesburg isn't bad. A little bit of extra production in my cities is kind of cool. Auckland, I guess, is kind of cool for my capital because that's worth a few production. Like if you look in here, if I grab Auckland, it's an extra 8 production in here, which isn't bad. I guess I'll grab Mogadishu for the little bit of gold. I'll grab Venice for the little bit of gold. And you know what? For the sake of it, I'll also grab Mexico City. Because I believe Mexico actually extends the range of my building. So next turn you can see, yeah, look at that. The range on this thing is now going to be immense next turn. Speaking of range, do I have an industrial zone powering things over here? I do, but it looks like there's enough. Yeah, this coal power plant needs to be switched out actually for a, yeah, nuclear power. Right, let's go ahead and now this is where things can get a little bit tricky. So I'm actually launching a terrestrial laser station in this city. So this is something you have to be very, very wary of. If I launch this, this will actually theoretically put this city over its power limit, right? If I do this, right, launch, the city is now over its power limit and I won't make progress on my exoplanet expedition, right? I'm at 3. So you have to be careful about how you do things. And that's only true for the power one. So you never want to trigger the power one on the same turn. You never want a one turn a power thing. Like, or you never want to chop it out, if that makes sense. It's hard to describe, but it's like a weird little quirk of the builder rushing mechanic for space race projects. You have to be a little bit careful about the one that consumes power. Because if you look here, even though theoretically I should now be traveling 2 light years per turn, I should end up only traveling 1. Because power updates in between your turns rather than on your turn, so that's something you just have to keep in mind. Unless you build a renewable power plant source. I believe that's the only way around it. So for some reason, Rome and the Ottomans declared war on me, but both of these guys are really, really far away from me to not even be a threat. I mean, I guess the Ottomans theoretically could do something to me, but my Air Force should completely keep me safe, unless he comes with giant death robots. Then it's a little bit scary, but I'll deal with that when the time comes. Right.
There is nothing like it.
So yeah, you can see, even though theoretically I should have been traveling 2 light years per turn last turn, I only traveled 1. And that gets worse the more times you have terrestrial laser stations in your city. So it's only a really big concern if you're doing it that way. Otherwise, it's usually just kind of fine. And you shouldn't worry about it too hard. For the Lagrange laser stations that actually use aluminium, it's totally fine to trigger them on the same turn. I need to do an in-depth space race victory because there's a few little weird quirks that a lot of people actually don't know about when it comes to space race victories. So in order to just show that again, if you're doing a project that uses the terrestrial laser station and you use a builder to chop it out on that same turn, you will not get the benefit of it, right? So right now I'm traveling 4 light years per turn. 2 of those are coming from Cairo. So if I chop this out once again, boom, that causes the city to go into negative power because it's using up power, and I didn't supply it with more this turn because power triggers the turn previous. Now the city's out of power and I'm only traveling 3 per turn. However, that will correct next turn. So I should be traveling more. It's kind of complicated. I don't know how to explain it. Did I explain it well enough? I really hope so. Let me know. So now the city is going to go back into being powered.
I would say invisibility would
Boom, the city triggers, now it's in power. And if I go check this, we're now traveling the appropriate 5 light years per turn. So it's just something you have to look out for when you're doing this late game micromanagement. It can be worth it to actually delay a turn worth of production or using a builder to actually snag a slightly more efficient navigation of the late game tech situation. I've heard many stories of people being bullied for trying to be fashionable in Ireland. How are you with that? One thing, I do really like living in Ireland, but there's one thing that there's, well, not necessarily, but that is something that is a big thing in Ireland. If anyone tries to like improve their life or do anything or make a lot better for themselves and they talk about it, or they can be perceived to do it, like if somebody's wearing nice clothes or they're dressing nicely or they're going to the gym or whatever, there tends to be a lot of people who will kind of bemoan and begrudge them and kind of give them grief. Now, it's not super common. Like, it's not everyone that does it, but there's enough people that do it to where it's just like people are kind of mean. You know what I mean? There's this concept in Ireland of notions, like, oh, look at him. He's got notions. It's basically people will assume that someone thinks they're better than them because they're trying to like improve their life or like, you know, wear nicer clothes or whatever it is the person is doing. It's almost seen as like an insult to the person. And I think it's a really shitty behavior that should super be called out by people more. Now, it's totally fine to launch Lagrange laser stations because they use aluminum. So that's actually not going to put my city into negative power. Like, when I was doing my YouTube stuff, part of the reason I didn't tell anyone about it because people, like, they're just very judgmental over here. Do you know what I mean? It was part of the reason why I didn't tell anyone until I was doing it for a while. And I was doing it about a year and a half, maybe a year. And I had just posted a video that had gotten like really, really good. It got like 50,000 views, 100,000, something like that. And I was like, oh shit, like actually, I've been doing this for nearly a year and a half. And I'm like, this is now, I've started to hit on things that were going to make my channel bigger. You know, I went from getting like 50 to 10 subscribers a day to getting like 100 a day. And that's when I told someone about it. I was like, oh yeah, do check this out. My channel is like blowing up relative to where it was. And they told me I was delusional. They told me I was delusional for thinking that was happening. So I just like ignored it and didn't really talk about it to anyone anymore. I talked about it a little bit and then I stopped talking about it again. Let's get ourselves a thermonuclear device. We're very close to winning, actually. We're at 22 out of 50 light years. And actually, that sort of like judgmental stuff, like that stuff would affect me when I was a lot younger. Like the judgment of people around me. It was honestly, like I wanted to start doing YouTube like 15 years ago when it was still fresh. It was just barely, it was like 2005 or something. And I wanted to start making YouTube videos. But all my friends thought it was like cringe, whatever. And that was kind of one of the things that like stopped me from doing it. But then as I got a little bit older, I realized that actually the fact that I just want to make YouTube videos is enough for me want to do it, and I don't care what people think of me. It took me a while. It took me, I want to say, it took me about like another 5 to 8 years to kind of get into that mindset. But then it was like another year or two after that I started actually making videos. Plenty of spaceports finished. So really all we're doing now is just launching lots of these projects, trying to win as soon as possible. We're up to 7 light years per turn and we've got 20 left to travel. So there's only 3 turns left in the game. I always like to play it out to the end though. I don't like to just shift enter end the game. For me it's kind of fun to like still be playing optimally up to the last second of the game. It's kind of the same mindset that I play things like Dota 2 with. Even if I'm down 2 racks and the enemy have 10 levels on us, I'm playing like I can win. Because I really now occasionally I'm just not in the mood and I will just kind of like phone it in or I'll just shift enter my way through. But I'm really a big fan of like until you see the end screen you're in the game. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just the way of playing that appeals to me. So similarly, when I'm playing Dota 2 or any sort of competitive game, like if we're losing and one of my teammates is like, FF, surrender, anything like that, that actually infuriates me. Like it actually, like how weak and babyish are you that like the second that things aren't going your way, you start crying in chat, asking people to get you out of the game, or saying FF mid fed whatever, all that sort of stuff. That actually like if I were in a video game, if I were to go to jail, it would probably be for punching someone at a LAN for typing FF if they were on my team. Like legitimately, like it would actually, like it infuriates me. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, FF, surrender. I don't want to play this game anymore. Barbarians have spawned in my empire. No! Ah!
There is nothing like...
There's only one way. There's only one way to defend against this. We have to nuke them. A scorched earth. You want to take my land? You're never getting it. It's my land. My land. Where did my other bomb? Did I nuke my own bomber? Wait, did I? Did I? No, I don't think I did. Ah, I used them both. All right. Can you deploy airplanes over? I would. Do airplanes take radiation damage? That's an interesting question. Never thought about it. I think we win next turn. I always like to, like, right before I win a game, I like to look around and see actually how much rail I managed to build. Like, look at all this rail. That's some fine railing right there, right? Your mom would be proud of me in a video game. Can I win yet? Have I won? 11 light years per turn. That is fast as F boy, right? That's fast. No! Oh. Oh, God! The turn that I win, the comments start dropping. Yes, it's like, oh my God. It's like, we caused the apocalypse. Peace out, brother. Then the fucking comments start dropping. Oh, man. And like the first one that dropped was on my city.
Much as our ancestors did ages ago, we thrust forward into the unknown. The first pioneers set forth on an uneasy course. Once again...
Oh God, I didn't mean to skip it. Damn it, I like the movie. All right, man, let's check out our graphs. This is why people play this game. Hold on, I think I'm gonna remove my face cam for this, because then you can't really see the graphs as well if I'm here. So I'll just like... Right. No face cam for this, because I don't feel like resizing it or moving it. Buildings constructed. Now remember, for the vast majority of the game, we were on like no cities. And just look at our science. Actually, I really want to focus on the player science here. I got ahead on science on 4 cities, because like if you look here, cities captured, I didn't really start capturing cities until turn 200. So just keep that in mind. And this first one I didn't even keep. I didn't actually declare war on Japan until like this last tiny bit of the timeline here. So if I come in here and we look at player science, I didn't start killing Japan until here. I was already ahead on science. And that's just because there's a right way to play when you're playing tall on how to optimize your science gain. Now, of course, we always have to have a look at the religions founded graph. It's always, 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 always the most important one. And in this game, it actually illustrates a really, really important point when you're playing Arabia. You don't have to rush for your religion. You don't have to get your religion as soon as you get your great prophet. It's not a rush, okay? You can take your time. Think of how useful my religion actually was. I was able to get some pretty good beliefs. I was able to get amenities. I was able to, generate a decent amount of science. I was able to generate a decent amount of culture. War is declared. I'm wondering, how many units did we kill? We actually didn't even kill that many units, to be fair, this whole game. We mostly focused on capturing cities, because that's how you win a war. And it was city, 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 city. This is the power of the late game bomber army. Once you get bombers, you just start stonking. You can see here, I'm actually behind in infrastructure for the majority of the game. But just because I know which infrastructure to build and when to build it, really, really pops off. Player error score as well. I was super behind on that most of the game. Let's have a look. Total governors. Seems like a bit of a redundant graph. Total governor titles is a bit more interesting. Yeah, I popped off right towards the end. This is kind of how most of my games look, if I'll be totally honest. Like, I'm super behind for the first 150 turns, and then I'm ahead for the rest of the game. Is how like 90% of my games look. Very rarely, if I get a very good ancient era or classical era war, I'll like climb up maybe around 120-ish. And I'm actually surprised that we built a decent number of wonders this game. Like, we didn't ignore wonders at all. We built a reasonable number of them. Like, comparable to the AI, which is very hard to do on deity difficulty. I'll readily say that. Player score. I love this as well. Look, player score kind of chipping along, and then it diverges. It just goes crazy. Excuse me. Anyway, that's going to be it for me for this episode of Civilization 6. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Right, so that's the end of the video. Now, we're not done. The stream isn't over. Stop saying the stream is over. The stream isn't over. Stop. Now, ding, 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 ding. Bonus content. Stop saying it. Stop saying it's over. Everyone, Morbus, you're my moderator. You're sabotaging my stream. It's not over. Now, ding, ding, ding. Bonus round. Do you guys want to just start like nuking people? And just like watch the apocalypse unfold. Hey, Spuddies. Welcome to the bonus content. Members only or live stream only. Perhaps. Maybe we'll make it members only. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But this is the bonus content for the Arabia playthrough. And baby, if you find this, you're a happy camper, because we're streaming live on YouTube right now. Make sure you follow me on YouTube and twitch.tv/PotatoMcWhiskey. You can catch this stuff live. We have already won the game, but the apocalypse has started, and one of my cities already got killed. So I'm actually going to open up. I'm going to open up the Civilization 6 developer tools, and I'm going to let the game autoplay and see who survives, right? Who gets murdered by the apocalypse, right? So Civ, developer tools, hang on. This is it. This is the end of the game. AI only. Who survives? I'll be taking my camera off so you guys can see the minimap. We're just gonna comment over it. AI only. Where is the auto player? Might be good if I showed you what I'm... No, you know what? You don't need to see this. This is for me. For me? Autoplay. Turns. No limit. Activate the autoplay. Oh, wait. No, deactivate autoplay. No, I did. I forgot. 1 turn limit. I'm supposed to. Get out of here. I was supposed to save the game before I did that. Professional Civilization 6 streamer, by the way. Okay, yeah, I don't care. Okay, hang on. Save game. Dino Salad 7 win. I want to observe as observer. I want to return as Arabia. No limit, activate. So the autoplay function is active now. I can zoom out. There is a way, hang on, where is my debug option? Free camera, boom. Hell yeah. We can zoom out, we can see the entire world at the same time as we zoom. Oh yeah. Zooming around civilization, what is happening here? You ever wondered what the game looks like when you zoom out really, really far? This is it. Alright, but the game is on autoplay. The AI is acting alone. So I'm curious to see, is the apocalypse not happening? Well, that's a lot of barbs in the water. Jesus. We've got like the Kraken. We've got the bull shark, white shark, humpback whale, Kraken, orca. Are cities getting blown up? Is the apocalypse not like occurring? I mean, it looks like something hit here. Are cities getting blown up? Turns are happening fairly slow. I don't know. I don't know about that one. There should be apocalypse things happening. Oh, Jesus Christ. What happened to Canada? Oh my God. Oh my God. Hang on. Do I have to be like looking as a player? Oh, unhandled exception access violation. Well, the game crashed because I alt-tabbed while running an autoplayer with a bunch of mods. Who knew when you push a game to its limits, it'll crash? You know what? We're scrapping the bonus video. Yeah, I'll send a crash report. My crash report is I pushed your game too hard and it died. My bad. Sorry. How do you get a bonus video done, stream over? We could do a little bit of memeing here. Let me think. Let me like arrange the day in my head. Let me open a notepad here real quick. Notepad. So here's what the day looks like. It's currently 4:15 p.m. At 8 p.m., we have a 2-hour Civ stream. At 10 p.m., we have a 3-hour Dungeons and Dragons stream. So that'll go till 1 a.m. So I have 4 hours to get like dinner, review and upload a video for tonight, and do a few other things. So I probably can end this stream at 5 p.m. That gives me 3 hours to get a video together, get dinner, and get ready for another 5 hours of streaming later on today. So I think that's fine. So we'll probably go here for a few minutes. Spice bag for dinner. I might do like steak and veg. I've been really vibing on steak and veg with like mushroom cream sauces and stuff like that. It's been like my go-to for a while now. Happy to know you got a girlfriend, or depending on who is listening. Dating a while. I like to keep that kind of stuff private, personal stuff separate. Update Windows. Dude, this shit. I update Windows every week and it still asks me to update it. All right? I ignore this now. What do you guys want to do? You may ask me questions. Ooh. Jordan Ramsey, you have the same problem? Update again? No. They've already asked, okay? What PC do you run the game on? A good one. I've got a 370. Oh crap! What's like the latest? What's like the baby version of I think it's a 3070. I've got a GTX 3070. I have, I think, a Ryzen 2700X, 32 gigabytes of RAM. I've got a triple monitor setup. I got a screen here. I got a screen here. I got a screen there. Boom, boom, boom. Triple monitors. I can, I've got chat over here on this screen. I've got OBS over here on this screen. I've got my gameplay on this screen. Tempted to turn my chat screen vertically so I can see more of chat, have more vertical space for chat. Can we check to see if dinos spawn later ages without the animal mod? No, the dinosaurs just won't spawn without the animal mod, unfortunately. Pros and cons of being a YouTuber. How does it compare to other jobs you've done? The list of pros is so long that you get like a Stack Overflow and the cons don't even like register. Now the cons suck, but the pros are so insane that I feel like anybody rational is happy to do this job. However, I will say this: people are not rational. People are super not rational. And even this applies to me, by the way. I'm not saying people as in everyone else. People includes me. The big thing is that people who maybe like work like for themselves as taxi men or as like a contractor or stuff like that, it has that same kind of freedom, which is amazing because you don't have to be at a place at a specific time. It kind of has flexi because you could show up and you could do some of the work whenever you need to. So you kind of have a bit of flexibility. Like if I want to stay up till 3 a.m. one night, I can because I don't have anywhere to be at 8 a.m. Now, the big downsides is when you really care about your work like the way I do, and it when you're not just phoning it in at some job that you don't really love. The hard thing is actually extricating yourself from the job because it becomes who you are. It becomes everything. It occupies your every waking moment. It occupies your thought process. You start to change your life. You start to change who you hang out with, purely just out of the fact that you don't have time. You start to it starts to encapsulate and consume your entire life. And getting that balance right is the hardest thing. I think for the first year and a half of me doing YouTube, I maybe went to like 3 social events that didn't involve my like direct family, like people who I'm like within 1 degree of separation, blood related to. So that's one downside. Upsides include, freedom, generally speaking, higher pay ceilings. However, every upside comes with a downside, right? Like, that's the thing you have to understand. Like, the upside is I'm my own boss. The downside is I'm lazy, so I have to boss myself, right? I have to like get my, like, I really love doing the work, but occasionally I'm just like, and I have to like be my own motivator. That's a challenge. The other thing is money. You don't make a huge amount of money when you start out. You start out being an apprentice in a job as a carpenter or something. Sure enough, you're not making big money, but you are making reliable money. You're making a couple of €100 a week, and you can rely on that money. You start out as a YouTuber, you're making pennies per day. Pennies per day for possibly years before you ever see a return. So that's a real big challenge. It's kind of why, like, I think if I ever get successful enough, how I'd like to transition my career is to find smaller creators who I think have potential and get them to create full time and like pay them. I'll be like, listen, I'm investing in you. This is your shot, right? You've a year. To justify this money I'm paying you. Make something happen. If you want to be a content creator, you can be. Here's a contract. Here's some money. Now make it happen. And if they fail, whatever, I'm out like a few grand, or whatever it costs to get them to sign on. But if they succeed, we've got another really good content creator, and now I'm their manager or whatever, or they, I don't know. I think that would be interesting and fun to do, to see if I could like do something like that maybe when I'm a little bit older. Because that is like an area of the business, is like finding good talent and then giving them the opportunity to actually create full time as a job. Would you sponsor me for a live adult entertainment stream? Nobody wants to see that, Adam, nobody wants to see that. Manage me? No. The Tater Creator Agency? It would kind of be like that. I'm thinking more like one-on-one. Like, I would probably only have like somewhere in the region of like 2 to 5 people who I would directly manage. What talent do you think is needed more of these days? I actually just don't know. I would be more focused on like niche stuff. I wouldn't be like trying to find the next Ludwig. I would be wanting to find like smaller people who I could like turn into, make it a real job for them, I think that's one of the things limiting good people from becoming content creators. They need to pay the bills in the early stages and need an income for that, which takes time away from creating. That's why you actually see now, in the past, most the backgrounds that content creators had was very, very diverse. So you had people like who, came from nothing, had nothing, and were nothing. Like, they didn't have an education. They maybe only had like a crappy job. I don't mean that to say like nothing is like as in a negative. I mean nothing as in like a financial assessment. Their family had no money. They didn't have a great job. Their parents didn't have a great job. They probably had a limited education, all that sort of stuff. That sort of stuff was common for content creators to come up. But now the barrier to entry is a little bit higher. And if you're trying to work like a normal job and stream and turn that into your job, it's just too much. So that's why you see a lot of content creators now are people from relatively well-off backgrounds, people whose families could afford to support them while they make the attempt, all that sort of stuff. Do you record your Civ 6 game in advance, or do you play them while making a series? Generally speaking, by the time you watch somewhere between the first and third episode, the full series is recorded. Now, that's not always true, but generally it's true. Sometimes I'll only be like 3 episodes ahead. So something you say to me in like episode 1, I won't change what I'm doing until episode 7 or something. What's the most balanced leader in Civ 6 to give you the option to go for any victory type? The Kree. Probably the Kree. Anyone who doesn't have a specific bonus for a specific victory. So Rome, the Kree, would you also be interested in promoting mobile games content paid offer? Generally speaking, I know that mobile games are like super lucrative, but I have like ethical limits that I'm willing to go to. It's the same reason why I always criticized people who took G2A sponsorships and stuff like that. Anything, and like, I'm not going to be perfect about this, right? But generally speaking, I only take sponsorships if I think that the first question I ask is, who asked? And then I ask, is your product ethical? Like, does it align with my ethics and morality? And generally speaking, mobile games don't. I don't believe in loot boxes. I don't believe in gambling. I don't think that's healthy for me to promote that. I think those things are fine if people make the decision to participate in them themselves. However, any promotion that I would do for a game like that would likely not give me adequate time to explain why I don't agree with loot box laws. So I just say blanketly, the amount of harm that I could cause to my audience from doing these type of sponsorships, I don't generally do. Now, if it's just a mobile game where it's free, like free, not like free with like asterisks, or it's buy to play, then I'll happily promote it. But mobile gaming is insane right now. It is mobile gaming is like what? I want to say it's 60% of the games industry. It's insane. Stop playing mobile games, please. Please stop playing mobile games. It's actually so triggering that these shit games, like my nephews have these iPads, and they play in some game called 9 Months, and it's literally like an X-ray of a developing baby in a womb. And I'm like, this is like such trash. They could be playing like classics like Ultima or any sort of cool. They could be playing cool games. So many games. I really do. This is my nuclear. I think games really need like a regulatory body because they've gone off the rails, especially in the mobile space. Everything. See, the thing I hate about the mobile gaming space is that so many of the games are cynical. They're not like, oh, we had like a really cool idea for a game. We wanted to make like a match 3 with like, you know, where you match like gems together. But it's like, you know, it's kind of cool and cute and it's about little fluffy animals. No, it's like, which gaming trends are like the maximal exposure right now, and how do we monetize our audience to the maximum level? How do we increase our retention? And it's like the games are being built by these like stats people, and at a certain point, you're not actually building a game that like is about having an experience and having fun and enjoying. You're building a digital drug. Like, that's my take. You're building a digital drug. I have no interest in digital drugs. Like, that's how I'm going to call them. They're digital drugs. I just have no interest in them. They're not fun. I feel manipulated when I play them, and if I feel like I'm being manipulated by your game, I'm done instantly. Like the second I feel like your game is manipulating, like daily login bonuses or loot boxes, or like it has like a disgust or revulsion, a response in me the second I feel like I'm being manipulated. Which is why, to bring it back to the start of this conversation, generally speaking, I won't do mobile game sponsorships. I will do mobile game sponsorships, no problem, if they follow my ethical limits or ethical rules. It's also why I won't generally do anything with loot boxes. I tend to avoid anything with anything related to gambling. I won't touch with a 10-foot pole. And like, here's the thing. These things would be incredibly lucrative for me to do. I could probably make $100,000 or more a year from promoting these things, like easily. You have no idea how many offers I get into my inbox every week to promote these horrible gacha games. Like, there's so much money in it, but I just won't do it. The only games I play on mobile is World of Tanks, or some of the Plague Inc. Duel Links Balloon Adventure. Have you played Georgia? Have you played Georgia since their bonus changed? I think Georgia are actually a decent civ now. They pay that much? Yeah, well, when you're getting if you're getting an email every week for somewhere between €2,000 and €6,000, depending on like which company is offering you to like take the sponsorship. Like those are like the ballpark ranges of the sponsorship offers I get from these mobile companies, and it's insane. To put it in perspective, I only really charge, like if it's a small indie company, I'll only charge like a few €100 to do a sponsored video. And then generally, because indie companies, they have less capital behind them, and I want to promote indies, I like indies, so I give them a discount. And then larger games, I'll tend to negotiate a little bit higher. The only mobile game I play regularly is Pokemon Go. I like Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is a nice little downtime game. It's just a fun, cute little game. Polytopia is a good mobile game. That's an example of a really, really, really good game, in my opinion, for mobile. Any old world content soon? I'd love to do more old world. We're in a transition phase from the old way I used to do things into the new way that I'm trying things. So there'll probably be a big emphasis on Civ 6 and Humankind, but I would like to find time for other games in here. Is Humankind worth buying? That's a decision you have to make for yourself. However, for me, it would absolutely be worthwhile playing because I like to be able to play games on their first patch. I like to be in on the door early. I like to play them as they develop. I like to play new patches. I get excited every time an expansion comes out. For me, that whole experience of being with a game and playing it over and over again every time new content comes out for it, that's part of like something I really, really enjoy, which is why I really like Paradox games. If that's not for you, then you're going to have to like take that into account when you're listening to my opinion. So for me, that's really valuable. I like that experience. I like Humankind. I like what it does. But I think Humankind is actually on the Xbox Game Pass, so you can get it for like a $5. I will be doing more Humankind content. I'll probably, once this series is finished recording, which is now, I'll probably start doing Humankind from tomorrow until I have a full Humankind series recorded. And then we'll go back to Civ, and then we'll maybe do something else, maybe like Stellaris or something. I've been playing Hearts of Iron 4 since day one, still have no clue what's going on. Hearts of Iron 4, I think my problem is I've played so many of Paradox's games now that it's so easy for me to optimally play the games that it's really, really hard for me to not. And like I'll micromanage every tiny little decision to like at the point where I made the game not fun for myself. Any chance of CK3? Are you waiting for a new DLC? I am working on a Crusader Kings 3 video. It's going to take me a while because it's going to be semi-scripted. But there is a Crusader Kings 3 video coming. Is this the end or the beginning of the stream? This is the end of the stream. However, I will be streaming again later. I'm just letting time kind of run out a little bit here before I go get dinner and stuff. That's the thing, you can play without buying a single power. In-game currency is farmable and powers are just fluff. I don't know which game that is. I have a buddy that does Ironmans through Paradox games in chronological order, and if any point he loses, he has to start back at the beginning. Jesus. Oh, he's talking about Bloons. Yeah, I like Bloons. Bloons is a fun game. It's a fun game. How do I convince my friends that Civ is a really good game? They think it's slow since they just got it. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to accept that games just aren't going to land with your friends. So sometimes the trick is to like offer maybe a low pressure environment. Like if you guys are chilling one night, you're like, hey man, do you want to play some Civ? And we'll just like, we'll just meme about, we'll play on the fastest speed and see what the game is about. I don't know. It's hard to like, if people, like the thing is people have to want to be convinced. They have to be interested. It's very, very difficult to convince someone to do something they don't want to without manipulating them. Like, if someone's just like, I don't want to do it, just respect that they don't want to do it, would be the thing is. Like, that's the thing. You've got an uphill battle. 90% of the time, if somebody has already said they don't want to do a thing and you insist, you're just annoying them. Which is why like neckbeards and dudes online are such a pain in the ass for women. They're like, hi, yeah, thanks, no, no thanks. And then they keep messaging, and they keep messaging, and they keep messaging, and they ask, and nobody asked them to ask, and it just goes on forever, and then they become a pain in your ass. So you just got to accept that maybe they're not into the game, and that you should maybe, if you really want to play that game, find other people to play with, or find really cool videos like mine that you could show to them to show that it's actually a really fun and satisfying game to play. Because if they're open to being convinced, and they're not like, if they're not like vehemently against it, just because like here's the thing too, you have to strike a balance, because sometimes people don't know what's fucking good for them. Okay, this is gonna be like a really controversial take. I've noticed this thing that there are a lot of people out there, and this happens a decent amount in my personal life. Is I'll be like, hey man, do you want to do X? And the other person will like reflexively say no, and then I'll be like, okay, and I'll respect that. And then like 2 weeks later, they'll be like, man, I wish I did X. And I was like, I asked you to do X. You know what I mean? So this is where, as you get to know an individual a little bit better, like if you're like, hey man, you want to go to the pub? And they're like, I'm kind of tired, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, listen up. It's Friday. Come to the pub with us, okay? We're going to have 2 drinks, and then we're going to go home. You're going to have a great night, all right? That's when, like, if you know the individual and you know the thing that you're going to be doing, they're going to regret if they don't go. Give them that little extra push, but generally don't go further than that, okay? Generally don't go much further than that, because then you're like violating space. Sometimes people need a little bit of a push, but you know, you have to know when you're being a dick. This is something I notice all of the time in past relationships. For me, is when I make a suggestion, I'm like a little bit indirect, and that's just the way Irish culture is. Like, if I'm like, oh, do you want to order for dinner? Right? Do you want to order for dinner? And they're like, I don't know. What I'm actually saying, and I explained this to people that I'm dating. What I actually said is, I want to order for dinner. Right? This is like, and this is just the way I think Irish people communicate, is you communicate what you want by asking a question. It's like, do you, like, is there anything on in the cinema? The subtext, and this is why it's actually so hard to be friends with Irish people, is because what is said isn't literal. You have to like go under and like dig down and find the truth of what people are saying. Irish people are very indirect. They're like, oh, I wonder what's on in the cinema. What they're actually saying is, I'd like to go to the cinema. Now, this isn't always, and the other thing that complicates it is that this isn't always true. What a passive-aggressive form of communication. I mean, I don't know if it's passive-aggressive. Aggressive is like, because usually how the conversation flow goes, because like here's how the conversation generally goes. It's like, do you like, what's your plan for dinner? I don't know. Okay, and then what I'll say is, well, I want to have a plan for dinner. And then they'll say, you know, and so now we've established, right? The subtext is here, I want to arrange dinner. They don't care, but they actually do care. Because when I start saying, okay, we're going to order Chinese, they're going to be like, actually, I don't really feel like Chinese. So this is the other, this is why you have to have like a little bit of like, you have to kind of invade people's space slightly to get answers out of them. So I'll be like, I'm going to order Chinese for us. And then they're like, no, actually, I really don't want Chinese. I'd actually prefer if we cook tonight. I'm like, okay, what do we have for dinner? And then they go straight back to, I don't know. And it's like, it's a really frustrating thing. It's like, dude, I'm here to solve a problem. It's going to take 5 minutes. If I don't know me for the next like 5 minutes, it's going to drive me nuts. Because now it's going to be me making decisions, and then all you're doing is saying no to everything. And then at that point, I get frustrated and give up on the relationship. That happens a lot, actually, where I'm like trying to be considerate and take other people's opinions on board. I'm like, how do you feel about spaghetti? Do you want spaghetti tonight? And they'll be like, I'm like, I've made a decision. You say yes or no, okay? Because at a certain point, I'm just going to get what I want and leave you hungry. Okay? I don't have time, okay? You don't understand. It's hard for me to be considerate, okay? Because I lose my patience with people really fucking fast. If I get an I don't know, I just envision myself like Bruce Lee, just flying through the air, foot first into their neck, like every fucking time. When you say relationship, are you talking about romantic relationship or with friends? Both. Family, friends, relationships, everything. The instinctive no. Yeah, that drives me nuts too. No. And I'm like, it's like you ask someone a question and they say no, and I'm like, you didn't even think about the question. You didn't even understand what I was asking you. You just said no because you say no to everything because you're an asshole. That shit drives me up the wall. Really, actually, I'm actually a little bit triggered thinking about it. Because how I want that, and I'll even say to people, and people get really triggered when you do this, by the way. I'll even say to people, like, if a conversation is not going the way that I want, sometimes I'll say to people, like, okay, let me explain how I want this conversation to go. I ask you a question, and if you say you don't care, that means I'm making the decision, okay? But if you say, I don't know, that's like a answer. I need you to say, are you in on this decision or are you not? If you're in on the decision, great. I will go down this fucking NPC dialogue tree. Do you want spaghetti? Do you want pasta? Do you want potatoes? Okay, you want pasta? You would like chicken and pasta. Boom, we'll make something with chicken and pasta. Maybe chicken parm, whatever. But like equally, if you just say I don't care, you make the decision. That's valid. I will fucking I have no problem making that decision. And in fairness, I kind of absolve myself of this because I do this shit all the fucking time too. Because sometimes I'm just like, I'm away with the fairies all the time. I'm thinking about like, socks or like some fucking random thing. And someone asks me a question and I don't even fully register it because I'm not finished my thought. I have to like finish my thought and then answer them properly. Step 1, do you like 4X games? If no, walk away. Well, what I've started to do is like say if I'm talking to my friend and I'm like, hey, like we're hanging out. I'm like, oh, do you want to do dinner? Yeah, what do you want to do for dinner? And they're like, oh, I'm not sure. I'll be like, okay, boom, activate. Chinese, chipper, or pizza. And I'll be like, 3 of those. And then usually what someone will do is be like, I don't want one of those. I'm like, okay, Chinese or chipper. I'm like, I want Chinese. And then it's a conversation where we're picking between 2 things. Because humans, you all know this. Humans are different. Like when you have like a fucking canvas of infinite decisions to make, it's really, really difficult to make a decision. But that's why when you're going to present someone with like do you want dinner? Having like a dialogue tree that you're ready to go down to get to the answer, which is like, or get to the intended result, which is like a satisfying meal, a succulent Chinese meal, one might say. It's sometimes good to present people with conversation options that are like limited, like Chinese chips, or you want Burger King, do you want Chinese food, or do you want pizza? And then if they really don't want any of those 3, they'll bring their own option if they care enough. They'll be like, no, actually, I want Indian food. And then I will be like, I'm in for Indian food. Boom. Conversation's over. But the thing that really fucks me off is like, I'll be hanging out with someone and I'll go like, oh, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, Chinese, Indian, or Burger King. And they'll be like, I don't really want any of them. I don't really want any of them. And then the conversation stops. And now I have to play fucking 21 questions. You want Indian food? You want Chinese? Mexican? Burritos? Fucking small pizzas? Big pizzas? I'm not here to play 21 questions. I just want dinner. I just want dinner, okay? You're making me hungry, dude. I'm hungry. I'm thinking about food right now. This is why we're talking, because I'm about to go make myself dinner, and then we'll be streaming again in a little while. It's the exact opposite in Norway. If I say I want Chinese, the other party will answer, okay, if you want it. If they don't agree and you're forced to ask again, we could choose something else. I would fucking steamroll Norwegians every time. Oh my god. I'm moving to Norway. They'd be like, I get to have my way and act like just because I'm a foreigner, I don't understand things. Like, I'd like to get Chinese for dinner. And they're like secretly like, no, I don't want to get that. But like, okay, if you want to. I'm like, awesome, right, we're getting Chinese. What's that? Your local customs mean I should ask again? Bitch, we're getting Chinese food. You can still frame an option in that situation. He goes to dinner, part of your choice, or don't. Imagine telling the DM when you ask what you want to do. You say, I don't know. True. I mean, sometimes I don't know is like a valid thing to say. I'll say that often when I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, man, I really don't know what to do in this situation. And then I'll think, and I'll spend some time thinking, but it's also an opportunity. Like, if I say that, I'm actually totally okay with suggestions from the other players or the DM. Like, or maybe they'll offer information. Like, I'm totally cool with that. I hate that asking again as a courtesy. I'm sorry, but I already asked. If you didn't give me your honest answer, that's not on me. I understand that it's like a local custom, but you know. British Irish indirectness is a cause of laughter for my family who are from another country. It drives me mad, dude. I really hate it. I wish people would just say what they want and what they mean. I wish I could do it too. I will. I'll get better. I am getting better at it. It's hard to like deprogram yourself from like 30 years of social programming of being a certain way. What's in store for the next stream? Also, favorite barbecue smoked meat. Tomorrow we probably will play Humankind. But for the stream tonight, in about 3 hours from now, there will be another live stream of Civ, and then 5 hours from now there'll be a Dungeons and Dragons stream. So that'll all be happening here on YouTube. So just, 3 hours from now, have YouTube open and my live stream should pop in for you. I don't know if we're going to play Humankind tomorrow, but that's kind of like where I was feeling. There have been a couple of beta patches, so I'm kind of excited to maybe do a little series on the beta patch. It's not just a British or Irish thing. My wife is Romanian, does the same thing when I ask what she wants for dinner. I'm triggered. I don't like it. Have you streamed Civ 1? No, I haven't. Hi, new fan. Been watching your channel for the last days. Thanks so much, Ferd. Oh, Tato. Will the Humankind stream again be a combo of streaming and recording? Yeah, it will be. I'm trying out this new style where we live stream and then hide the live streams. You can find all my past live streams on the front page of my YouTube channel. But yeah, basically it's like bonus content. You can come and you can watch the live stream, or you can just catch the edited videos. It's an experiment that we're working on. We're trying it out. It seems kind of cool. It might be working. Like, my numbers are doing okay doing it. I think it's a much more fun and engaging way because you get to see the videos actually be made if you're at work. And then, like, say you're like, oh, actually I would like to really see the edited video of this because it was really enjoyable. I think what I'd like to do is 5 days a week streaming, workday streaming, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 hours a day. And then we leave it there. Weekends are for me. Be back next Monday. And then maybe like a couple of edited videos over the weekend. As much as I love your face, it's going to take some getting used to. So many hours of disembodied potato commentary in my life. Some games I will play without face cam. For sure. What I would really like to do though is eventually we will have a slightly modified setup for streaming. We will. Any meme stonks you're looking at? Have a look at my DeGiro profile. Oh, that's not what I wanted. DeGiro. So like, I still have some shares of GameStop. I'm up 40% on them because I bought the dip because I'm an absolute genius. I made nearly 10 grand on GameStop. And I'm still up. I'm still up nearly another few hundred because I only bought a couple for a meme. And I bought into GameStop with very little money. I think I bought in for €1,000 at $40 a share, and I sold out for €10,000 at about it was more like 8,500 at $390 to $420 a share. Some people use the so-called potato cam. I don't know. I love this question. Time thing. Can you do it more? Yeah, we're going to be doing it every day. Essentially, where we just chill and talk a little bit after we play the game. I've been extremely lucky with my stock purchases. My Apple stock is up 15%. My Google stock is up 100%. I bought right in a dip. My Palantir stock is up 40%. My GameStop is still up 38% because I bought in so cheaply. My real estate is up 10%. My other real estate is up 4%, and they also pay dividends. So like I'm making money on both ends there, making a little bit from the increase in stock value and a little bit from the dividend. I wish there was can I like hide? I kind of want to show you guys my portfolio, but I don't know if there's like a safe way to do that. I don't know if there's any like personally identifying information on this. Like, yeah, I think I put in about €20,000 into my stock market portfolio over the last few years because I don't spend my money because it was pandemic. I had all this like spare money so that I had saved up for years, and I just put it all into the stock market, and I was like, fuck it, dude, let's YOLO. And I've doubled my money in the last year. My dad bought GameStop at 300 and sold at 38. Oof. Do you want to know a really painful story? I installed a Bitcoin miner in 2011. I think no. What year did Bitcoin come out? I think it was like 2012. Yeah. Bitcoin was 2009. I installed a Bitcoin miner in 2012 when it was still super easy to mine Bitcoins. You could like get one a month. They were like €1 for a Bitcoin. Okay. I installed a crypto miner. Thought it was too complicated. And then just never ran it. I didn't understand it. I couldn't figure it out. My brain was too small. The tutorials weren't good enough. And I fucking just never ran that miner. I could have ran that miner and been an actual... Oh my God, I could have a house. I could have a house. Ugh. Although here's the thing. I probably wouldn't have held that long. I probably would have sold out way earlier. Because it had just been like someone had posted something. I think I want to say I was like 16 years of age. No, that would have been too long ago. I was like 19 or 20, and I could have installed it. I could have been mining Bitcoins all this time. €1 a Bitcoin. It was like, hang on, how much Bitcoin price? God. It was like €1 a Bitcoin in 2012, which is about when it happened. So that would have been, yeah. Religions expanded and Atomic Tech's historical religions. If you get a chance sometime, you might like them. Yeah, let's try. Let's have a look. I definitely have done religion expanded before. Have you been to the US? If so, what favorite things? If not, what's on your wish list? I've been to the US. I've been to Florida. I've been to Indianapolis. I was in New York for a day or two. Can't think of anywhere else I've been. I've been to Texas. I like the US. The food is hit and miss. The people are generally nice, especially when they hear that you have an accent. For some absolutely wild reason, American women are absolute gigacoomers for like the Irish accent. Then we've got the food. It's nice. It's okay. It's like fine. It's a fine country. Let's have a look at this religion. Religion expanded. Religions limit max 16 religions to enable a cap of 16 religions. Gathering Storm expansion. A lot more Irish in Boston than Austin. Yeah, it's true. Max 12 religions. I was in Indianapolis, and some guy from Ireland asked me if I was American Irish. As we were at Gen Con. It was like a board game convention, and I was in the queue to get a burger. This lad asked me, "Are you American Irish?" He said it in like a big thick accent, big Irish accent, and I was like, "No, I'm from Dublin, mate. Well, what's up?" And he just said, "Oh, blah blah blah." I think he was like, he gave me his business card. It was like, all right. America is Ireland 2.0. We love the Irish here. This is your country away from the country. Hell yeah! High five, America. Is it true that content creators make more money off YouTube premium viewership? I assume it makes a difference given the length of your videos. I'll tell you now. Tell you percentages, if you just give me a moment. Estimated revenue, see more, but revenue source. So, I could tell you right now that 70% of my revenue comes from ads, 15% comes from memberships, like becoming a member of my channel, super chats, stuff like that, and then another 15% comes from YouTube Premium. So YouTube Premium is a significant chunk, but it's not like insane. It's good. I'd say it's good. It's good. I have YouTube Premium. I have for like as long as I've been able to. I've had YouTube Premium. It's great. Never have to look at ads on any platform. It's amazing. Last time I was watching your VOD, I could have got around the fact you look a lot like Pedro Pascal, just Irish instead. Hope you're having a good time down Texas by the border. Well, your accent isn't too thick. That's true. Oh, right. This mod. Max 16 religions, max 12. Basilica. Slot for Relic. Faith, Gold, Food, Production. So this is your tier 3. This is your tier 3 worship building. 3 food, random Eureka. This seems way too strong. Random Inspiration. These two are way too strong. Way too good. Way too good. Way too good. Very, very powerful. Very, very well. I suppose you can only get one, but like, you compare these two. These are too good in my opinion. Cool idea. But if you're going to go in this direction, everything has to have an effect of this level of power. Who even is Pedro Pascal? Pedro Pascal, Chilean American actor. Oh my god. It is me, kind of. My god. I think he's more handsome than me, though. Jesus, it's a good looking lad. Does the US accent work in reverse? Irish people are all like, "Ooh, you're from Arizona." The American accent works in reverse, but only for Southern accents. I think that's generally. New Pantheons. +1 signs from Tiles of Breathtaking Appeal. This feels very strong. +1 food from Tundra. I like that. That's kind of cool. +1 food from desert, +1 culture from rainforests. Desert one is okay. It makes desert hills a bit just like plains hills, which I guess is kind of cool. +1 culture from rainforest. +1 face from woods. Quite powerful. These two are quite powerful. I definitely feel like the rainforest one is better. Tundra is also better for this. This turns tundra terrain into basically grassland terrain, minus the certain things. Primordial waters, amenities and housing from holy sites adjacent to a coastal lake. This should be +1 in my opinion. Seems a bit strong. The river one is a lot more limiting. There's a lot more coastline in the game than there is thing. I feel like this should be less, or maybe it's +1 adjacency per ocean tile or something. Trade route capacity. Ooh, this is insane. Free trader. Seems really good in the early game. 2 city-state envoys, +1 influence point per turn. This is actually really good. This is really good. I like that Pantheon. +1 food from fishing boats, +1 culture from camps, +1 culture from quarries. Oh, sorry. It's probably hard to read. Let me make it bigger. I can't. I can't make it bigger. I would say these Pantheons look pretty interesting and strong. New follower belief. Shrines and temples provide science equal to their intrinsic faith. This feels an awful lot like a lot of these beliefs are just mirrored from culture, which I don't love. I think it is interesting to have unique mechanics for each one. This also feels way too strong. Science is more useful than culture in most cases. 8 gold from World Wonders. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like this prosperity doctrine. Allows you to purchase buildings. It's also, again, a mirror of Jesuit education. Work righteousness, another mirror. Blessed dedications, culture and faith from art. That's cool. I like that. Movement to builders. Yeah, it's kind of neat. It's a neat little belief. +1% culture. 2 amenities in cities. Yeah, that's cool. 1 production, fruits of labor. Oh, cool. Trade routes gain. Nice. Founder beliefs. This seems interesting. What was the Tokamek? Tokamek? Todakek? What was that? What was the name of the other guy's religion mod? Do you think Firaxis will move the mods that are on PC to consoles also? It's very unlikely. It's mainly down to one really simple thing. Is that mods are kind of an unofficial thing. If Firaxis were to make moves to officially embrace mods, say on consoles, for example, it would, and then someone made like a Star Wars mod, that opens them up to like legality issues. So that's something you have to, you know. There may well be Tomatex. There may well be mods on console in the future, but Tomatech? What the hell was that guy's name? Tomatech. Historical religions. Tomatech with a H. There we go. You ever played Civ on console? Do you even... I don't know. I've never played it on console. I'd say it's good in console, though. Light mode. Minimum of new. Updated leader preferences. Customizable denomination packs. Extensive configuration file. Cool. Historic religions may be loaded. Interesting. There's like a whole bunch of new religions and beliefs and stuff. I think that's really cool. Any plans to start a new game? No, we're literally just about to end the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. There will be a video later on tonight at 9 p.m. There'll be another stream at 8 p.m. It's currently 5 p.m. So 3 hours from now, there'll be another Civ stream. 4 hours from now, there'll be a Civ video. And 5 hours from now, there will be a Dungeons and Dragons stream. So check back in, man. Check back in. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time.